Hi there, this is Hans with ListingsMagic.com, and in this video we're going to go through in detail the process, the how to integrate both Google Sheets and Zapier into your ListingsMagic account. But before we do that, we need to go into the why, because if you know the how but don't really understand the why, you're not going to take the action to do the connection of these systems. And so let's talk a little bit about data and moving data from one system to another. And first of all, let's talk about putting in things that are automated and processes that are automated. You know, in today's world, as much as we can automate, we want to take advantage of that automation. Humans, when they do any kind of data entry, can make mistakes. They can forget about things. If you get a lead and you get that lead in and you just call them once or email them once and they don't respond and you forget about them, that is not an efficient way to run your business. So you want to get that lead information into some sort of tool set, a CRM package typically, that has the ability to communicate with them, to put them into drip campaigns, long-term email, long-term text campaigns, those kind of things. The challenge is, however, that we have a certain system that we work with and we get leads into ListingsMagic. How do we get them to your CRM package? And so let's just say, for example, and here's the challenge, there are so many CRM packages out there that exist. Let's just say, for example, that you're in conjunction with LionDesk, and you're using LionDesk as one of the many that are out there, and that's your choice. So let's say that we ListingsMagic decide to work directly with LionDesk, and we can do that. They probably have that kind of API capability available. We need to now program that data that comes into us and then tell them, so here's the data we're sending you, and here's the format that it's in, and and this is a very common term, and I'm going to be using this here more in this video, is we need to map that data so that you know what that data is. It's not that difficult to move data from one place to another. It's just a bunch of ones and zeros, but what that data represents and what it means is the challenge. And so let's say we do program our data to go to your CRM. No problem, we did that. Now comes along another client that they use a different CRM package. Now we got to do that same thing, and so on, and so on, and so on. If you're old enough, do you remember the hair commercial? Never mind. Google it, and do and so on, hair commercial. That's all you need to do. And so now you've got all these different CRMs that are each needing to be programmed differently. And what the problem is that it's custom programming for each one. It's very time consuming, and then of course there are updates down the road. So if anything changes, any fields get added or removed or whatever it might be, also going to have to basically start over again sometimes. So here comes Zapier. And so Zapier is sort of the de facto industry standard on allowing data to move seamlessly from one system to the other. And so with the introduction of Zapier, now we ListingsMagic can say we're going to program one time for Zapier, and then all these CRM packages, they also program one time for Zapier. And so now that data can get moved very quickly and very easily to any CRM package that's out there. And I will guarantee you, any CRM package that's worth anything has a Zapier integration in place, and also a Google Sheets integration in place, because we're going to talk about that. So the mechanism to move it is, let's just say Zapier. That's what I would say is the translator of the data. The place that that data gets moved to, it's kind of like an intermediary storage place that all parties have to agree they're willing to work with, is Google Sheets. And so the flow is, we get the lead in, we send it to Zapier, Google Sheets gets it, and with the same Zapier integration, they're now able to move it to whatever third-party CRM package that is out there. So that's sort of the back-end way it works. I just wanted to give a visual representation, since many people are visual. They need to understand, what is the process and, of course, the why. Because at a minimum, this video is going to show you how to get your leads from ListingsMagic into a Google Sheets doc. And why Google Sheets? Because they're also the de facto industry standard for housing disparate data in a way that can be used by various different platforms, web vendors, software vendors, etc. So let's now get into ListingsMagic to show you, and to Zapier to show you how to set this all up. Zapier is the glue behind the scenes that makes this all happen. And so, of course, I think it goes without saying that you'll need to have a Zapier account in place. And so you go to Zapier.com, go through that process, and then you need to decide. You'll probably need a paid account. It's constantly changing, so I'm not going to even talk about that. So just know that you may have to pay Zapier a monthly fee to keep the account doing what it needs to do, so that all the functionality is available to you. But once you do have that in place, you're going to do what's called make a Zap. And so once you get here, I'm just going to step through this very methodically. And the reason I'm doing when I say that methodically is because the previous video that I did, I think, went a little bit too quickly into this. So the first thing you can do is you can say, I'm going to give this Zap a name, ListingsMagic leads to Google, whatever you want to call it. You want to be clear on it. I've got a bunch, so I need to be very clear on what I name that. And then you're going to go into there's events and triggers. And so what we're going to do is choose the methodology by which we want to move this data. And for our purposes, when you're building for Zapier, you're using a webhook. And so that webhook is the selection you want. So webhooks by Zapier. And then the next piece that you want is catch a hook. So what's happening, to explain it, is that we are now getting this data, but now we need to know what to do with it. Well, Zapier provides a URL, that, aka a hook, that we can then utilize to get it into our system. So now where do you go to actually make that happen in ListingsMagic? There's a couple of places to find it. If you just hover over your account tab, you'll see the Zapier integration. Alternatively, if you just go to edit account, you'll also see that that is available to you in the edit account area as well. You just scroll down. So click on Zapier integration from one of those two places. There is a tutorial that'll be this video here, and because there's a current one that I'm going to replace. And you just type and paste, or just copy and paste that in from the other Zapier site. Click on submit. Now, there's a bunch of test data that we are going to now push to Zapier. So what you'll need to do is, don't worry about, if you want to, you can change these, but do not worry about it. This is all test data that we're going to be sending to Zapier. Just click on submit, and you've successfully submitted that data. And I want you to see that data, that test data that was there, because we're going to see it in a second on the Zapier side of things. A quick note here is that there is a Google Sheets template sample data that you will need to have in your Google Sheets account. So if you want to go and set that up now, go get to this Zapier integration, skip the Zapier piece now because you're in the middle of this tutorial, and set this up. So what that's going to look like is this. It's going to just simply be a template that you can then save to your own account. So put that into your own Google Sheets backend. If you need to, you can just do a copy this row and do a file, new spreadsheet in your account, and paste that row in like so, and then give it a name. So whatever you want to call it. I don't want to have that in there, so I'm just going to, because I've got one already, so I'm not going to continue that process. So that is a step that we're going to be doing, but it's kind of like the cart or the horse. So it'll all make sense here in a second. Let's go back here. Oh, sorry, back over. So now that we're done with that, we can go back over to our Zapier account and click on continue. And now here's where this, the initial bit of magic happens, is you're going to test your trigger, and if things went properly, you're going to see all this test data that we sent to Zapier. So Zapier said, hey, congratulations, ListingsMagic sent us this data, and we have access to it now. Click on continue. That's all you need to do there. It's just showing you that data. Now that we know how to get that data to Zapier, where do we want to send that data? Well, we want to send that to Google Sheets. So you'll see it on my screen here, but it may not be on yours. You just start typing in the search bar, and Google Sheets will show up. And the event that we want to have happen is that we want to create a new row in our Google spreadsheet with that lead data. So you're going to click on create new spreadsheet row, click on continue. Now you're going to have to connect your account with Zapier, so you're going to have to give permission to have Zapier interact with your Google Sheets account, so you'll have to go through that step. Once you do, you'll be able to continue by connecting your account. And then now you're going to choose the drive. Most people only have one. And then now, here's where you have to go and choose that spreadsheet that you just created. There's the one that I just created. I don't want that one. I want this ListingsMagic template. And then now you're going to choose the worksheet. Typically, that's just the sheet one. Most people don't rename their sheets, just to show you that is referring to this down here, just for clarification's purposes. And then now, here's where we have to, once again, do some mapping. So again, we took the lead data that we provide, first name, last name, email address, phone number, the property address that they may have been interested, all that. We send that to Zapier. We told Zapier, here's the data we're sending you, but now we're sending it to Google Sheets, and they don't know what that data is. So that Google Sheet has a column of first name and last name and email, but we need to correspond that data. So now it's going to go grab that webhook data and say, what does first name correspond to? Now you might be like, why don't they know what that is? Well, it's a computer, and so they're not that, even though they're intelligent, and it could be automated. There's probably a way to, more fully automate this, but they want to make sure that we're getting the right data and putting it into the right place. So you only have to do this one time, by the way, so keep that in mind. Phone, and now that you can understand, if you want to skip ahead in this video, you don't have to watch this all the way through. You can go do this yourself, but I don't have that luxury, so I'm going to go in here and do this step by step like I need to. We have two buyer-seller tags. One is the text version, like buyer or seller, and the other is numeric. Some systems say that a buyer equals 0 and a seller equals 1, that kind of a thing. So then property address is the property they may have been interested in. And again, some of your leads may or may not have that data, but if that data is provided, you want to make sure it gets mapped accordingly. So property city, property state. If you only want first name, last name, email, phone number, you can skip these steps, but I recommend you don't. Because again, you only have to do this one time. You might as well take the time now to do it properly. Property zip, property tags, any comments? What the campaign is almost done. If you've made it this far, then you inherently understand the value of setting this up. Good for you. And that's it, we're done. So now we click on continue. And once again, we've got this spreadsheet that we're connected to. We've got our Zap that we're building, and we want to test it. So we're going to test and review. And voila, we created a spreadsheet row. Let's go back to our spreadsheet and see, did they in fact create a spreadsheet row in our account? Lo and behold, there's that sample data that we've been playing around with. Everything is in place. We are excited. We are happy. That is exactly what we wanted to see. And now we can turn our Zap on. Don't forget to do that. Otherwise, it will not do anything for you. Even though we tested it and it worked, it needs to be turned on. Now we are done. So now anytime a new lead comes into ListingsMagic, no matter what the source is, if it came from our virtual tour or from a chat or from a valuation page or from a Facebook ad lead, they are going to get funneled into your Google Sheets automatically. And then from there, any CRM package that's out there, I'll do some additional videos stepping through how to get from Google Sheets to a particular CRM package. But at this point in time, if you use Follow Up Boss, for example, you can go to Follow Up Boss, search their video tutorials, and you'll be able to see that they have a tutorial and a methodology for getting data from Google Sheets into Follow Up Boss. But again, I'll be doing some additional videos to step through those, since maybe I do a better job of explaining it. So that's that. But let's actually test. Let's go ahead and show you one that we do send over to the back end. So let's refresh this here. We'll just do it again. So contact me. I'm going to create, I did this earlier as a test, but I'm going to put in something else. I'll do Hans Test Guy, and Hans Test Guy at gmail.com. 303-710. I'm just making up a number here. That's not my cell phone, by the way, so don't try and call me on that. And then we want to see this house. Can we set a showing? And you simply say, I'm not a robot. And this is, again, this is one lead source possibility, but once that gets done behind the scenes and it's complete, hopefully my internet's still working. Oh, okay. All right, sorry about that. My internet went down, so I had to reset the router. A common occurrence these days. So let's go ahead and test the flow from getting from our system over to listings or to our Google Sheets doc. So if we do a contact me and put in Hans test guy, testing it, let's say that, and Hans test guy at gmail.com. Put in the phone number 303-18. By the way, it's not my real cell phone, so don't call that. And test, or let's just say, want to see this house. Can we get in tomorrow? Something like that. And send. So this is, again, one lead source way that leads can get to you. I'll click on send message. And once it's done sending, we're going to come over and check the back end of Google Sheets. So it's done. And crossing fingers, look at that. Voila. It's now in Google Sheets. So that's the end-to-end process of setting up your ListingsMagic account, working with Zapier and Google Sheets to get leads from ListingsMagic over to your Google Sheets doc. All right, any questions you have on this, please send them into support@listingsmagic.com. Do not send them into our chat team. You know, we can't expect our support guys in general to understand Zapier or Google Sheets or anything, you know, outside of ListingsMagic. This goes a bit above and beyond, but we'll certainly do our best to help you. Send it to support@listingsmagic.com. Thanks for watching.